They don't know that we go way back.
I know. That's why I was like, wait, I just want to sit with Banna because I really wanted to connect with you. I think it's been so long, like from the Banna that I knew from back in the days to now. Number one, I just wanted to tell you that I love your growth.
Thanks.
It's amazing.
Thanks.
And, I guess it's just part of like growing up, getting older, having more responsibilities and whatnot. But I'm just like, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, you saw it from the start, right? We grew up together, so we were like 15.
Literally, like going to the
15.
club and, just I guess maneuvering through life so young,
We were young. We were young and going out. Like, we learned the city so fast at a very young age. Like, we really learned it.
That's why, honestly, like seeing how you decided to, like how you told your story with the whole like Miami guide, I'm like, that was so perfect for her. You're from Miami, you knew Miami, like this was secondhand for you. And the way that, how you said like luck presented itself with like your knowledge already, it was just like perfect. So
Right.
That's amazing. And honestly, I wanted to ask you, like, as far as getting into the real estate industry, I know now it's a little bit more equalized as far as like men to women ratio, but I'm sure that like at the level that you're at, it's pretty male dominated. We could say, because there's a lot of like female realtors that are like, like me, for example. I just started and I'm doing rentals, so the level that I'm at, of course, I'm going to be around a lot of women. But at the level that you've gotten to do like luxury real estate and stuff like that, how did you feel? Like, or how do you feel, do you ever feel like you have to like always prove yourself as a woman around all these men? Or does it ever get to a point that it's like, no, like, my name,
Yeah. I will say when I first started, it was like that. I was only like 22, 23, and it was like, 10 years ago. It was a lot different, the market then. And I did feel like I have to prove myself, work harder. It was a little harder. They didn't take me very seriously. I was like this little girl trying to make it, Now I don't care. Now there's this quote that I say that I don't mind living in a man's world as long as I can be a woman in it. So now I don't even think about it, and same thing like with so many realtors. Oh my God, you know what? Not really. Nobody cares because I still keep getting clients, new clients. How about that? I have open houses where buyers are unrepresented.
Wow.
So tons, by the way, like a ton of unrepresented buyers. So it's like, okay, people claim it's saturated, but to me, it's like a limiting belief. And us as women, I mean, not to be so controversial here, but we are kind of the superior species, like in a way, so I mean, we give birth, like, which that's also controversial, but whatever. At the end of the day, we have our own special power. They have their own special power, and it's how we express ourselves, and how we go at things. For example, my marketing techniques are different than the men's marketing techniques, let's say, and
Right.
some people rather work with us Miami natives than the person who just got here 5 years ago from New York. Like, how are you going to compare,
Right. Like you barely now are getting to know the city.
So that's where you come in. That's your niche, right? Miami native. The fact that you are in LA, so you're bi-coastal living, you know the differences, the taxes and things like that, the benefits of living here versus there. So that's your niche. That's your value proposition. They have theirs, And also, I started looking at like Liz Hogan, superstar. Dora Puig, superstar. The Jills, superstars. Who else? Like Dina, superstars. And they're all women.
Yeah.
And they're all, they started a while ago, but they're all women and they do well. So
that actually is bringing me to the next question that I had for you. How did you work on not getting discouraged? Because I, living in LA, and I was in a completely different field from what I'm doing now, which granted, I try to see the positive side of it. Like I was doing social media and like it, kind of ties in now that, okay, I kind of know social media, but there's always room for me to learn. Like I can always get pointers from other people to see maybe what I was lacking in my social media stuff. And so I was doing social media and acting and now going into real estate, which is so different. And comparing to the type of money that I was making then to now just doing rentals, I'm like, dude, is this even for me? So how do you work to not get unmotivated?
Well, what are your goals? I think we have to go backwards here. Is your why? People like to ask me like, what's your why? And back in the day, my why was to not be broke. That's my why here. But now my why is a legacy. Like now my why is to be the woman that I want to be. Now I want to be a top 100 Sotheby's broker. Like now I want investment properties. Now I want financial freedom. Now I want to retire in 10 years, 12 years. So that really kept me going. And I think that perhaps we need to go back to basics and we need to have our goal sheet. So what's your 3 month, 6 month, a 1 year goal, 3 year goal, 5 year goal, 10 year goal? And I think having these goals in mind keeps you going. Same thing with numbers. And by the way, I still do a bunch of rentals and I will never not do rentals because rentals is where the money's at. And rentals bring referrals and that's all we care about. And referrals bring buyers and buyers bring. I sold a unit to my good friend, a really cool like townhouse style on the beach. He referred me to a rental. Rental was like 5,000, something small. Small. He referred me to his brother. So now I'm the family's realtor in a way.
Yeah.
He just got another rental for 5,000, 6,000. That was at the Flamingo. I made quick 2,000,
Right.
So from one client to two more referrals, two referrals now. One of the brothers now wants to buy. So keep at it. All you want to do is build your database. So rentals are fine. You start from $3,000 a month rentals to 5,000 to 10,000, and it just keeps growing and growing. What you can't do is stop. You just can't stop. So
That's interesting that you say that because, yeah, when I first started, I was like, and maybe, you know what, I had to bring my ego down a little bit. I was like, I'm not going to be driving around Miami showing a bunch of properties. Like, I'm going to go straight into commercial. Dude, I wasn't doing commercial for like 7 months straight, like in the office, making cold calls on Reonomy, on anything you can think of. And I was like depleted. I was like,
It's
I hadn't make
exhausting.
a single sale. At one point, I put in an offer for a land. It was contingent to the amount of units, didn't go through. And that was like when I just gave in. I was like, after 7 months, I finally had an offer in. The city didn't approve. I was like,
oh
and then a rental came in.
yeah.
And the rental, it's like you said, the moment that I literally, like, she had her sign her lease, she referred me 2 people. Those people referred me someone else.
Yeah.
Someone else, and I'm like, so I was like, oh my God, like, this is
And
terrible.
We need to survive. We need to pay bills. I call rentals bill money and I call sales savings.
Yeah.
So keep doing all the rentals and don't stop doing rentals because then the rentals become buyers and then those buyers need to want to rent out their property or sell their property and then it leads to the referrals. You never, ever, ever know. Or it refers them to their boss and their boss wants to buy. Like you never know where your next lead comes from, so never stop doing in rentals. Don't worry about that. It's
That's
nothing.
so true.
Don't even worry about it.
I was literally like beating myself up. I'm like, oh, I suck. Like, this isn't my calling. I just did all of this for nothing. Like, what's next for me?
And 7 months is nothing, by the way. 7 months is nothing.
Bro, but 7 months,
I
like
know,
when you're
gas
used to
this.
making, your money, and 7 months not even a closing. Because at least like with a rental, like okay, like I close a rental, I see a little check. It's like, yay, this is my prize for driving around 6 times around
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah.
And now I got paid for it, but 7 months and I didn't make a dime,
It's not easy.
a penny, a nickel, a quarter.
But now you could do both. Do your rentals, work on your commercial deals on the side. Commercial deals take 2 years to pay out anyway. So at least you have your rentals, at least you have your commercial, and you're building both at the same time. And I think it'd be kind of smart too to become, whatever deals you've done, become like an expert in those buildings.
True.
And then you can start posting about it. Just did a rental, $5,000 at this in Flamingo. There's 5 others for rent. Did you know that Flamingo has a dog park? Did you know that? Just becoming a little expert in those buildings. Double down on it.
True. Okay, and then last question. How did you build the confidence to ask for a listing? Because another thing, when I was working with commercials, like a lot of things were off market. So it was a lot of like running around NDAs, this, that, to make sure no one went behind you on the deal. So how did you build that confidence where it's like, no, give me the listing or I'm not doing this?
Oh, you're talking, regarding the off-market stuff. Yeah. Well, to me, those aren't real sellers. They're kind of real sellers. You're kind of, I like to focus on the low-hanging fruit, right? Okay. So if it's a referral on a seller referral, somebody referred me. Oh, they think they might want to sell. I'll give them a free value analysis, right, where I showcase my value proposition and I'll showcase them what I think they could net based on the following: the stats, the numbers, the conditions, days on the market, etc. So I show them I'm an expert, and then I feel very confident in my analysis. So then I go forward. Okay, this is the reason why I think I should be your listing agent. Let me allow you to sell it based on this information is provided to you for free, by the way. So I feel that, well, I'm obsessed with listings, and I learned a long time ago you need to list to last.
Yeah.
And in this market, especially with what's going on in the industry, you need to get listings.
That's why I'm like, how do you build the confidence? Even in residential, how do you build the confidence to get a listing? Because, for example, I had a friend reach out to me because I know that I know a lot of people, but I feel like I'm not having the confidence enough to be like, let me be your realtor.
Then that's a limiting belief, and that's an inward thing we need to conquer, right? Because there's no reason. You deserve it. You are the best person for that listing. You are the advisor. You can get them the ultimate price in the least amount of time. And you need to get the listing signed, and that's it. Just go for it. And again, I think that you should have back to the brand book, I think it's important. Elizabeth Ruiz, Miami native, X amount of years in the industry, X amount of years in sales. These are my focus areas. This is my neighborhood. This is what I do. These are my sales in the last couple months. These are my rentals in the last couple months. And this is the reason why I should be your realtor. We got to go back to basics, right? And if your goal is one listing this week, one listing this month, how many calls does it take to have to get that? How many contacts do you need to go after? How many cold calls do you need to do, And perhaps having like a mini script, My little mini script is like, what's your plan? If I'm talking to someone, I'm like, oh, where do you live? Oh, yeah, here, but my kids are going to university. And I'm like, oh, what are you going to do after the kids leave? Oh, I don't know anymore. I'm like, I think I might rent or sell. Oh, really? Well, why don't I give you a value analysis of what you could rent for, what you could sell for, and see what you think, For sure, I'm getting one listing or the other, either renting or selling, and that's what's going to happen. And then you have to ask for the listing. Very few are just going to throw it at you, And by the way, sellers these days want someone aggressive. So slap
maybe
yourself.
that's what it is. Yeah.
Let's go. Yeah. You have no option. There's no other option here, So
yeah, because representing the buyer, especially now with the new law that was passed, I'm like, well, fuck it. I don't know if we're allowed to curse. But at this point, I'm just like, dude, I'm just gonna have to go balls to the wall, and have like some type of like retainer fee, because I'm not gonna be even with the rentals. I my first rental ever, and I had to drive around, my God, so many times because she didn't even have a car, and I was so desperate to just get her in an apartment that I was like, I was literally there as she was signing the lease, and I was like, God, please tell me everything is gonna go according to plan. Like, the dog's not gonna bark, for goodness sake. Then now I'm like, I don't know if I can do this.
Okay, but I became an expert at rentals, so I ask him all the questions on one phone call on one visit. We're gonna look at things for 1 day or 2 days. We're gonna see 4 to 6 units. You're making an offer the next day. During this process, you're giving me your bank statements, your credit report, any pets, anything I need to know, etc. So preparation is key. You're gonna tell them, set expectations. Listen, Olivia, based on your criteria, these 4 to 6 are the top ones in this area, and that's it. You go look at those 4 to 6. The next day, making an offer. What is your timeline like? You want to move in now or in the next 2-3 months? If it's the next 2-3 months, then let's start looking about a month out, because right now inventory is gonna change. Let's not waste anyone's time here. So set your expectations. I work with some agents under me, and I tell them the same thing. People will waste your time. Yeah. People will waste your time. So you need to protect yourself. And I think that's, once you do what I'm saying, the 3-step system, it saves time, it saves them time. Everyone's on the same expectation.
Okay.
And if you ask all the questions up front, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, furnished, alone, etc., what do you need? Water view, what's super important to you, a gym. If you ask all those questions up front, I guarantee there's only about 5 options. And in this market, probably even less. Yeah. These are your main options. If you don't like any, we need to think of a higher price point, different neighborhood, different timeline, etc. And that will save you a lot of time. And you'll start getting real strict on your time too, by the way, You'll start differentiating who you want to work with and who you don't want to work with.
Yeah. I'm feeling like that already, but I'm telling myself, like, humble yourself, still build your database, go out and network as much as you can.
You do all those things, though. That's how things are going to change.
I think it's the hardest part is just staying the course, because there's days that I'm
go back to your goals.
To get up and drive to Davie because she wants to see one apartment in Davie. I'm like,
but why are you in Davie, though?
referral because she wanted to find something in Davie, and it was
What price point was that?
3,000 for a 2-bedroom.
You know, I mean, at this point, you sometimes you're just gonna do what you gotta do, right? But now maybe do that and then don't do that again.
And the reason why I decided to take it is because originally she's separating from her husband, whatever, and she wanted to buy, but she didn't qualify because she already did her taxes. So I was like, okay, I'll represent her in the rental.
Right.
Da, 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 da. Next year when she's ready to buy, Elizabeth helped her. But it's just like,
you never know if you're gonna get a referral from that. We need to get some positivity back and get your goals in order. Let's talk again soon, and I'm gonna tell you about your goals. I want your goals to be set. Think about what you really, really want. You know, like 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, a year, 3, 5 years. Do that. Like get super clear.
Okay. Thank you.
I think that'd be great.